Bear with me. I'm sorry. I'm looking at all of the options on here. All right. So, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that this live will be saved to my videos. I think it will. I don't know if I have to manually do it or if after I'm done here it's just automatically going to upload. So I'm sure somebody at some point will see this. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just going to sit here talking to nobody. I'm killing time before a doctor's appointment right now. I have to go in at 11 and it's 10:30. So I figured I was live on TikTok. I got a phone call and then it booted. So I'm like, might as well just come on here. It has been a long time since I've been live. It's been a long time since I've posted any sort of content on here, and there's a reason for that. And I might as well just, tell you guys now while I have your attention. So back in July of last year, July of 2025, I made the decision after a very, I'm not going to say it was a tough weekend. It was a brutal weekend as far as busyness and gigs, and I had a bunch of things that were lined up and ready to go. And it literally every, oh wow, I have like a little something on my finger. I'll have to get that later. Every gig that I had that weekend canceled on me. And I mean, I'm talking, I lost a couple $1,000s of revenue that weekend. And it was that day I sat back and I thought about it and I was like, you know what? This is no longer fun for me. I have had more heartbreaks and upsets than I've had good, exciting things. And I'm talking that, gig opportunities, agent opportunities, television opportunities, all of that stuff that, I had the opportunity, but just some way or another, everything would end up falling through. And I made the decision that last year was my last year as an entertainer, as a magician. I'm not beating around the bush when I say that I pretty much hung everything up. I put my stuff away and I decided that I'm not going to be doing magic anymore. Give me 1 second. I'm sending a text. Hold on. It's probably going to look like it's like shaky and everything, and because it is shaky. So, yeah. So that's pretty much what's going on. I have not picked up a deck of cards since November of last year. I decided that it is best for me and my own health and my mental health to put it all away. I'm not doing it anymore. What's up, Death Book? So I'm not doing magic anymore. I put my stuff away November of last year after I had announced pretty much my retirement. I had been doing it nonstop for 20 years. So I don't know if it had gotten out to everybody. Obviously it hadn't gotten out to everybody because I'm still getting calls and shit for gigs. But no, I have retired. I have put the magic away. I have moved on. I actually need to change this YouTube to something else. Give it a different name because I don't want to, deceive people and make, have people think that I'm still doing magic and everything. And when I go live on here just to talk, which will more than likely become a thing. I want to go live a lot more often, but I will not be doing magic. I want to do other things. I want to talk to people. I want to talk about wrestling, because if you guys don't know, I love wrestling more than I loved magic. Okay, it's my first love. My wife knows that. So, um, I watch Raw every single night, or every single week. Every single week, I have Raw on, and I'm paying attention. And then, there's a bunch of things that I want to post and say about it, but I don't have a big following, a wrestling following, and I might just turn all of this into a wrestling themed YouTube so I can go live and talk about it. Which, like I said, I've been wanting to do that for a while, but let me stay back on topic, though, about the magic and stuff, because I'm pretty sure there's probably people who are like, dude, are you dead? No, I'm not dead. My career is dead, though. It's a mutual decision, guys. I decided it was best for me. I was sick and tired of getting my hopes up. I was sick and tired of things coming my way and then being taken from me. Regardless of how hard you work, regardless of how much effort you put into it, regardless of what you do, where you go, who you know, right place at the right time, all of that stuff. Yeah, it works for some people, but it doesn't work for everybody. And I really wish that, I really wish that these people that actually did make it doing whatever they're doing, made it big. I wish they would tell people that more often. Because I was following a whole bunch of creators who were dead set on making sure that everybody knew, hey, follow your dreams. If you believe in yourself, this will work and you'll get this and this and this. And I did, and I got nothing. Well, I can't say I got nothing. You know what I did get is I got a group of people in my life that I still talk to, that I met through magic, who are just awesome people. And a lot of them are on TikTok. A lot of them follow me. We talk on, through the inboxes on TikTok and everything like that, just keeping up with each other from all over the world too. I met a dude. He commented on one of my videos and then inboxed me because he wanted advice, because he's a magician, in Australia. And we've now been like, just sending small messages to each other. Hey, how you doing? Hope everything's good. Hey, you got some advice on this? We were doing that for a good 6 years. And, we still talk from time to time because, he ended up being a good dude. And, I have him send me Vegemite every once in a while, and he's asking me about politics and stuff up here, which I don't get involved with politics. So I kind of just tell him, look, world's going to shit. We're just part of it. So, but so it's things like that, TikTok, when my magic started blowing up on TikTok for the 2 weeks that it did, it, introduced me to a lot of people, but it also connected me with people that I didn't ever think I would be in contact with, which I thought was really cool. I'll give you a great example. During, I would say, mid 2021, I would say, around the time I was when I was coming back from Myrtle Beach, I had found out that Greg from The Wiggles liked one of my videos. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Okay. So then I sent him an inbox. I was like, are you the real Yellow Wiggle? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, shit. So we ended up, we still have periodic conversations between each other, which I think is pretty cool. I met, let's see, who else have I contacted with? A couple competitive eaters. I ended up becoming friends with the LA Beast. But then again, I was friends with the LA Beast for a while. But, like him and I recently reconnected too. He's doing good. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I hate magic and I hate the fact that, magic consumed my life and cost me a lot of like important things and opportunities in my life. And I'm not even sure if this thing is still going on. It looks like it's frozen. Oh, no, it's not. I'm not going to sit here and say that I hate it and that, I wish I had never started doing it, because if I had never started doing magic, I would have never met some of the most important people in my life. However, I really wish that people would understand why I'm thinking the way I'm thinking and what I did and what my decision ended up, how I ended up coming to this decision to eventually put it away and, not dabble in it anymore and not perform publicly anymore and not do shows and not do events. And my website is down, and I've changed all of my other social media to just me, because, it was a great time in my life when I thought I was truly happy. And it took a lot of like deep diving within myself to realize that I was chasing something that I knew was never going to happen, and I knew years ago was never going to happen, and I continued to do it because I thought that maybe the world owed me a favor, and it didn't. When I first started doing magic, it's because I wanted to get famous, and I wanted money, and I wanted to get the attention that I was never given as a child. And I had started getting that. And then when TikTok blew up, here's the whole story with TikTok. All right. And I'm sure people are going to go back and they can watch this or whatever. Or maybe they're not going to watch this. Maybe Deathbook-K3M and Tayson Snyder P6X, which might be bots, because who picks names like that? You guys might be the only ones watching, but what was I saying? I just lost my train of thought now. That's the other thing. Cognitively, I'm gone. I've been suffering from memory loss and all of that, so it's been tough. I'm not there in the head anymore. But no, okay. So 2020 is when my TikTok started blowing up. Started getting a lot of views on TikTok and everything. No, that is not what I was talking about. All right, you know what? Never mind. We'll just drop that subject. Smoke all that weed. If I had any on me, I would, brother. I would. FBA Kush Boy 4204. Why, you got some for me, bro? I will. What time is it right now? I just want to make sure that I'm not running too late. Oh, wait. 10:40. All right, I got another 15 minutes that I can stay on here. Yeah, bro. I mean, fuck it. I'll burn one with you. Oh, yep, there we go. Now the car's gonna start making some noise. Anyway. For those of you just coming in and wondering why I'm not doing card tricks, I'm done with magic. I'm writing a book. You'll be able to read it hopefully, I want it to be done by November. I've been working on it periodically. But it explains everything. It explains my journey. It explains why I started. It explains things that have happened in my life because of magic. Cool stories, funny stories, scary stories. Times I thought I was going to die. Everything is laid out. How it affected me, how it affected my relationship with my family, how it affected my relationship with my kids. Everything. I lay out everything. I hold nothing back. The book should be out in November. I don't know what it's going to be called. I have an idea of what I want to call it. I want to call it something like, how not to be an entertainer or something like that. I don't know, but it should be out in November because I'm doing my last magic show in November, at my high school, at my old high school, because that's where I started. That's where I want to end. So, yeah. So what am I going to do from here? I don't know. What I kind of want to do, actually, no, that's not kind of. What I do want to do is I do still want to create content. I want to be able to go on here and talk to people, like what I was just doing with FBA Kush Boy. You respond to me, I'll respond to you. We go back and forth. I see a bunch of people on TikTok do that type of thing. I would love to. I just do not have a decent, steady fan base because, people have short attention spans. And let's face it, it's been a minute since I've posted anything. People probably forgot who I was. People forget who I was 5 minutes after I meet them. So yeah. I mainly want to create wrestling content. I want to post pro wrestling content. You know, I was saying, I've told a bunch of people this, and I stand true to it. Pro wrestling was my first love. I loved pro wrestling before I even knew what magic was. There was even a point in time when I was training to become a wrestler. I started in a yard, did a little bit of in-ring work stuff, and then I got a concussion, so I stopped. Hey, I got 3 likes on here. Look at that. Guys, blow up the likes. Try to get the algorithm. We got like 10 minutes, so I might as well stay on here for a little bit and talk. Yeah. Take the key out, by the way. So, ideally, what I would like out of this, you know, I see a guy who does like a weekly live just to bullshit with his, you know, with his followers and everything like that. I might start doing that on my other channel, CT Golf Reviews, which I'm actually active on. Because in 2020, I came up with the idea because I was playing a lot of golf. It was fuck, man. Sorry. You ever try to talk? You got a bubble in your throat and your words just won't come out. That's what just happened. So 2020, I started playing a lot of golf because it was during the pandemic era, and there was really not a lot of stuff to do. So I bought myself a set of golf clubs off of the Facebook Marketplace and just started playing, and went out and worked on my game. I took lessons when I was like 6, but it had been a very long time since I had played between 6 and 2020. I don't remember how old I was in 2020. I think I was 23. No. I wasn't 23. Let's see. That was only 5 years ago. I'm 32, 27. 26. Yeah, because the pandemic hit before my birthday. I was 26. So there was a lot. And I have nobody watching right now. Awesome. Cool. Fantastic. So I'll just talk for maybe a couple more minutes. So I was playing a lot of golf during the pandemic, and I was like, you know what? I got to do something with this. I have a camera on my phone. I have a tripod that I use. Why not start vlogging? So I did. I went out to a golf course, and I made a vlog video, which sucked. It was horrible. And the one night I'm laying in bed and I'm watching TikToks, and Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports comes up and he's reviewing the frozen pizzas, which I always thought was the best pizza reviews because he had to do it all himself, and it was funny. So I was like, you know what? I might as well do something kind of like this, where I go out and I play golf, and instead of just like talking about random bullshit, I'll rank the course on a scale of 1 to 10, and I'll put it out there. It'll be like a review. You know, like a pizza review, only I'm doing it with golf courses. And then that's where CT Golf Reviews was born. So I created the channel, and I went out and I started, playing more and reviewing more and filming myself more and showing that I cannot play golf to save my life, but I still enjoy it. I think it's fun. And on top of that, I get to give my opinion on something, and it's become a resource. So I might use CT Golf Reviews as my, live channel. Either that, or I'm going to change the name of this one to something completely different. I will not take off the magic videos because I know that who knows, somebody might be bored, want to watch like a magic trick that stumbled across me. Granted, I suck, but it'll still be there. So, yeah. So that's pretty much what's going on. If you've been following me for a while, don't expect any more magic videos. Don't expect me to do any, tutorials or anything like that. Because I've fallen out of love with it. I've moved on to other things. I have a regular job now. The one thing I promised myself that I would never do. I was always that person. I'd rather die on the streets than get a real job because I want magic to continue and make me famous, and I want magic to be the only source of income. Yeah, you fucking idiot. My God, I can't believe I thought that way for such a long time, and it only set me up for bigger and bigger and bigger failures. Um, and then, of course, there was the IPA tour last year. No, not last year, 2 years ago. Was that last year? Yeah, that was last year. The brewery tour when I was doing adult magic shows at breweries all over the East Coast. Which, let's face it, didn't work, failed miserably. I think I had maybe 4 shows that actually sold out. 4 shows out of 57 that sold out. I'd say 10 of those 57 shows that I had booked actually had more than 5 people show up. And the majority of them I had to cancel due to low ticket sales and because they were far away, and I didn't want to drive out to do a magic show for 4 people, which I have done. And the thing that really sucks is that tour was my baby. I was so confident in that tour because I had done a magic show for adults at Two Roads Brewery back in November a couple of years ago when it sold out, and it was a huge hit. People were laughing, and it was fun to do, and it was the first time on stage that I actually felt like I had finally found my purpose, and I had finally found my niche, and I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is it. This is the show that I have to do that will get me to the next step, that will finally get me famous, that will finally get me to where I want to be because people actually enjoyed this one. So I took it on the road and it failed miserably. I'm still fighting the depression that I got from that tour. I'm still fighting it. So I honestly think that is what killed it for me, is the IPA tour failing as miserably as it did. And on top of that, because I was getting so in with the breweries, which in hindsight, I really shouldn't have done the tour because I feel like it killed a lot of the relationships I had with all of these breweries that I was performing at. Because, when I would go in there, I would just be doing close-up magic, card tricks, table side, bar side, all that stuff, and they thought that I was good. And I think it kind of like exposed me when they realized that I cannot actually draw a crowd. And I've never been able to draw a crowd. I've never had funding for a show. I've never had sponsors or anything. I've always done everything out of pocket, and I've never had more than $500 to my name ever in my life, with the exception of a settlement I got from a car accident, but I blew through it within a month. And there's nobody watching again. Awesome. So I think that's the thing that killed it for me, was it was me waking up and finally realizing this ain't working out. You got to do something else. You're going to starve. You're going to die in the street. Which ironically is what I told my mother I'd rather do than get a real job. Looks like she was right. So yeah, that's pretty much it. But I have got to get into the doctors. I'm going to figure something. I'm probably going to create a whole new channel and just just make it like my channel. No theme, nothing like that, even though majority of it will be pro wrestling. I don't know. Maybe I'll make a pro wrestling channel. I already have a golf channel. I might as well make a pro wrestling channel. But at the same time, it's just tough because I want to start my podcast back up, but I want to change it to a different name, and I want like guests and variety, but I mainly want to talk wrestling. I'll figure it out. So, all right, guys. Well, I'm going to get going. I will talk to you soon. Who knows? Maybe I'll come back on later tonight. Who knows? I don't know.